So another Democratic candidate is gone now. Dropped out of the race, bites the dust. It's this gentleman right here. Now, if I didn't tell you his name in the next 5 seconds, would you know who he is? It's Seth Moulton. His name is Seth Moulton. He looks like a G.I. Joe, doesn't he? He's got an incredibly square jaw. He looks like he was in a movie playing the character of, like, the tough guy sergeant or something. I mean, that's seriously what he looks like. But anyway, I digress. He dropped out because he is polling abysmally. Let's take a look at this little news segment here where they talk about him withdrawing from the race.
Breaking news right now. Another shakeup in the 2020 Democratic race. Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton has just dropped out after struggling to gain traction and unable to meet the criteria to get on the debate stage next month. His plan was to announce at the end of his campaign in a formal speech this afternoon, where he and 12 other Democrats will be at the ongoing summer meeting for the Democratic National Committee. And that's where we find our road warrior, Ali Vitale, who is live in San Francisco. And so I know you've already been talking to folks. What do we know about Moulton dropping out?
Chris, there was a lot of questions about if there would be more candidates and, frankly, when we would see more candidates dropping out ahead of that third debate, where the threshold to make the debate stage just became so much higher. That's why someone like Seth Moulton, who hadn't been able to make the stage for either of the first two debates, was really struggling to gain traction. We know now this morning that he is dropping out of the presidential race, but he's doing it with a warning to the rest of the field. And I want to read what he said in an interview to the New York Times. He said, "I think it's evident that this is now a three-way race between Biden, Warren, and Sanders. And really, it's a debate about how far left the party should go." And this is something Seth Moulton is a candidate who ran on his national security experience, his military service, and he's someone who really did fill that more moderate lane of the party. And so to hear something like this from him in an interview where he also praises Joe Biden, not necessarily surprising, but it does sort of lay the stakes as someone who, when he was out on the campaign trail, made clear that it was going to be a difficult slog for Democrats to beat Donald Trump, one that he was optimistic about, but he did not really pull any punches in terms of the battle that Democrats had ahead. And frankly, that's the same thing that I've been hearing here at the DNC summer meeting. So when he does come to speak here in a few hours, I'm told that's where he will formally drop out of the race. But I imagine we're going to hear a little bit more about this warning about how Democrats should run nationally if they're going to beat Donald Trump, Chris.
I love that. I love the idea that a dude polling at 1% and probably in many polls 0%, that this dude has the right to go out there and talk about, bro, let me tell you the direction that the Democratic Party needs to go in. And obviously I'm an expert because I'm like at 0% in the polls. Why the fuck should anybody listen to what he says? If anything, take what he says and do the exact opposite. I mean, this isn't, that's not rocket science. It is math, but it's not rocket science. It's like, oh, so this guy's massively unpopular. Okay, well, maybe everything he says should be dismissed and we should go in the direction of people who are popular. Just a thought. Just a thought. So this is what we're going to see, guys. This is what they're going to do. Like, a lot of these centrist goons who are polling at 0% or 1% are going to drop out, and they're going to do their finger-wagging, get in line speech where it's like, oh, come on now, everybody. Let's be serious people. Let's not go crazy and pick a far lefty or anything like that. And that's embarrassing, man. That's so... They're trying to control the Democratic Party and the direction that the people take it by pretending that they, the glorious party managers, yes, know what's best for everybody. And they don't. If they knew what was best for everybody, Hillary Clinton would be president right now, wouldn't she? But she's not. So maybe you've had your day. Maybe the past 30 years of neoliberal centrist Democratic Party rule has been an abysmal failure, and maybe that led to the rise of Trump, and maybe it's time for you to go away and for us to go back to our FDR roots and actually be unapologetically on the left. Now, the other point is, even though when you go to the labels, it's true that it's unapologetically left in the context of American politics, here's the main point, guys. We are the real moderates. We are the real centrists. because our opinion falls smack dab in the middle of mainstream American opinion. And okay, it's now time for the Bernie team to make this argument. It's now time for them to make the case that actually we're the real centrists, and for them to make the case that they're the most electable. Those are the 2 points that the Bernie team needs to make now and scream it from the mountaintops. Because this is now what I've noticed is the main line of attack against Bernie coming from mainstream media, coming from other Democratic candidates. It's, oh, no, he's too far left, he's too radical, so forget. He can actually rep both of those things. He could say, you can accuse me whatever you want to accuse me of. It's time for radical change, but I am actually representing the center opinion. And when I say center, I mean the center of mainstream American opinion according to all the polling. So he can have his cake and eat it too. And he could say, yeah, I'm for radical change. Top-down reform, baby, let's go. But he can also say, but I'm the moderate, because my opinions happen to mirror the opinions of the American people. So he's got to make that argument, and he's got to make the electability argument. And when he makes the electability argument, as I said in a previous segment, he's got to say, who are we kidding, guys? The election all comes down to the Rust Belt. These are the swing states that determine the election. And guess what? Those are the states that I, Bernie Sanders, thrive in the most. I outflanked Trump on the main issues that got him elected in 2016 in those areas. According to polling people in those areas say, I would rather have a populist Democrat than a Republican. So, why am I so much better in that region? Very simply, I'm anti-corruption. Trump just pretends he is, but he's not. I'm anti-corruption. I'm pro-union. I'm pro-worker. I'm against these shitty trade deals that outsource jobs. Donald Trump pretended to be all that stuff, but he's not. He's not. Ask yourself if your life is any better. 93,000 jobs have been outsourced since Trump became president when he ran as the anti-outsourcing guy. I, Bernie Sanders, am the candidate for this region. So if your main concern is we got to beat Trump, you got to go Bernie Sanders. You have to go Bernie Sanders. He's the one where after the primary's over, you can breathe easy. It's done. It's over. It's done. Trump has no chance. Do you understand? Trump has no chance if it's Bernie versus Trump. None. Zero. None. Anybody else, you're going to be a little bit of holding your breath like, come on, bro, hang on. So, it's just so annoying that these guys who poll at 0% and nobody likes, I'm dropping it. First of all, I need to do an announcement, everybody. I'm doing an announcement, everybody. You guys want to hear me? I'm going to announce something. Nobody cares? Nobody cares? Okay, all right. Like this is the level of politician we're dealing with, but the news covers it like, ooh, let's listen to their expert opinion on the direction the Democrats should go. No, do the opposite. Do the opposite across the board.